Hi Palfish, Malee here. This is my first video in what I hope will be a long series of videos about research-based language teaching theories. Today we are going to talk about my favorite language teaching hypothesis called the Affective Filter Hypothesis. This is a hypothesis by Professor Stephen Krashen, who is a language acquisition expert. It's part of his theory of second language acquisition. And this is one of my favorite hypotheses because it makes students feel welcome in my classroom. And that is something that is so valuable as a teacher. So what is the affective filter hypothesis? Basically, there's this filter in a student's mind, and it can either help them to learn a language or it can stop them from learning a language. This filter can either be high, and when the filter is high, it's like a high barrier is blocking the student from accessing that language. So if the filter is high, the barrier is high, the student feels stressed. They feel anxious. They feel like if they make a mistake, they have done something wrong and they will be judged. Versus if the filter is low, the barrier is low, the student feels safe. They feel like there is not any judgment if they make a mistake. They are happy to participate because they know whether they get the answer right or wrong, their teacher is still going to want them in that classroom. So I think we can all relate to this filter because we've all been a student in a classroom. Can you think back to when you were a student and you had a classroom that you really liked, and you had a classroom that you really didn't like? Now you can pause the video here if you want to write this down. I think better when I'm writing, so if you want to pause and think about this and write it down and then start the video again, you can. So when I've been in classes that I don't like, the way that I feel in that classroom is uncomfortable. I don't feel welcome. I feel shy. I feel that if I did something wrong, that the teacher was going to be unhappy. Versus a classroom that I really liked. I always felt welcome there. I felt safe to try to get the right answer, and I knew that if I didn't get the right answer, it would still be okay. So, we have our filters. The high filter, we do not want a high filter. When the filter is high, the student is stressed. The student is anxious. The student does not want to participate. And this might come across as boredom. It might come across as the student saying that they don't like learning the language. We want the low filter. When the filter is low, the student is happy to participate. The student is interested. They like it. They do not worry about being judged. They're in a safe place to try and to answer something. So the big question here is, how do we lower that filter? How do we get the students who walk into the classroom with a filter up to here, how do we get them to bring that barrier down and open themselves up to be part of the group or part of the one-on-one classroom? And my number one recommendation for lowering that filter is to correct errors carefully. Choose which error is important today. When a student says a sentence, they most likely have multiple errors in one single sentence. Pronunciation errors, more than one type of pronunciation error. Maybe they make a grammar mistake. they didn't use the correct verb conjugation. Maybe they didn't, I don't know. There's so many things, right? There's so many things in a single sentence that a student could get wrong. But you need to remind yourself what is important today. Today, are you working on pronunciation, or today are you working on grammar? And that goal that you have targeted for the day, that is the error that you should correct. Because if you correct all of the errors, you're going to overwhelm the student and the barrier is going to go back up. Now, once you've pinpointed what that error is that you want to correct, you need to kindly correct that. One thing that I always think is funny that one of my students told me, one of my in-person students, I have a class full of students as well, they told me that when I tell students that they're wrong, I do it with a smile on my face, which is true, you know, because I'm not mad that they're wrong. I'm happy that they tried. So figure out for you how you can kindly correct those errors. Because when a student is putting themselves out there and saying something in a new language, that is a huge indication of success. As far as I'm concerned, they have made leaps and bounds just because they have been brave enough to try to say something. And if you overcorrect an error, they won't want to try anymore. So, a quick example. I'm trying not to make this video too long, but I do like talking about hypotheses. So, a quick example that we all know because I'm pretty sure we have all taught the monkey lesson, right? The eyes, the nose, the mouth, circle. Yeah, we've all done that one. Okay, so if you have on the screen the cat, the dog, the monkey, the fish, and you're trying to get the student to circle the monkey, right? So you're sitting here on your device. Circle the monkey, right? And the student circles the cat. First, let's do a bad reaction. No, that's not the monkey. That's a cat. This is the monkey. No. The students' barriers are going right up, and they're not going to want to try to figure out what the monkey is anymore. Okay, now let's do a good example. Circle the monkey. You circled the cat. Can you circle the monkey? Monkey. Do we see the difference? I don't even think it's necessary to tell the student that they were wrong. You don't have to say no. You don't have to say you're wrong. You can just kindly point them back into the right direction. Now, of course, this differs depending on the age of the student, right? A 5-year-old student versus a 15-year-old student. A 15-year-old student, you can clearly point out what they have done wrong in some instances, and that would be fine. And it also depends on the relationship between the student and the teacher. So please don't take my example as 100% of the time you should never tell the student that they did something wrong, because there certainly are times when you should tell a student that they've done something wrong. But when we're trying to get that barrier from being high, we want to get that barrier low so that students want to be in the classroom with us and they can learn easily. We got to keep that barrier low. Okay. This movie is almost 10 minutes long already. I had originally intended it to be 3 minutes. So, have a great day. Type out a comment for me if you want. Follow me on Palfish. Have a great day.